Hi friends, and welcome back to another video. This is Em of Plan with Em, and today I am setting up my book bullet journal for December. That is bizarre. I can't believe it's already been that long. And I am using these exclusive Black Friday stickers from Katelyn Plans. We've got some florals, we've got some butterflies, and we have some shopping. And so I thought that this would be a kind of fun spin on the red and green color scheme that, you know, is typically associated with Christmas and December. And I'm trying to do sort of a replication of the fun font that she has in her stickers. It definitely did not really work, and I don't think that I would do it again. But it is kind of fun to just try something different out a little bit. And I think that it worked for some of the smaller ones that I did. But, you know, that's okay. Not everything works out perfectly the first time, right? Like, we all know that. In terms of my TBR from last month, I had, I think it's 10 books on my TBR, and I read 6 of them. So 60%, not bad. I had put one of them, so Well Traveled, which is about the Renaissance Fair, was on my November TBR. I didn't get to it, so I put it on my December TBR, and I read it already. Yeah, look at that. But November overall was still a very, very good reading month for me. I haven't finished my reading log now that I look at it, so I don't know how many books I read, but it was upwards of 20, that's for sure. Now here you can see right there, I'm just looking up quotes, something that I can put on this little quote page, and I chose "A book is a gift you can open again and again," which I thought was very cool. In terms of the best books that I read in November, I would say Bloodmarked by Tracy Deonn, which is the sequel to Legendborn, was absolutely phenomenal. Right. Sometimes especially if it's going to be a trilogy, or maybe even just more than that, the second book kind of suffers. But here it was action-packed. We get to see a lot more of Selwyn Kane, and we get to sort of see the fallout based on what happened in the first book, which I'm not spoiling, I'm just saying, so you should read that. I also checked out The Happy Homebody by Elizabeth Gray, aka The Greater Good. And it is just, it's like a hug. It's like a nice home hug. And it's focused on, you know, being a happy homebody, making your house feel like a home, and, you know, focusing on things that you love. And I thought that was amazing. It also came with a coaster and a window cling and like some nail stickers, sort of, so it's very crafty, which I enjoy. And, you know, I think that book is definitely gonna be one of my sort of go-to gifts for the holiday season. If I'm giving someone a book, I think that one is very good. Let's see. I also read A Man Called Uwe, which is by Frederick Bachman, and it's becoming a movie soon, and they changed his name to Otto for the American version because I guess Americans are stupid and can't deal with a name Uwe. I don't know. But it's about this crotchety old man who all he wants to do is die, right? And he keeps getting interrupted, and in turn sort of falls in love with his neighborhood and life again. And it's gonna make you cry and then give you a hug and then make you cry again. But it is so good. Plus, I listened to that one on audio, and J.K. Simmons narrates it, which is just like, whoa! I also did The Sunbearer Trials, which was on my November TBR, if I remember correctly. And it lived up to the hype. Aiden Thomas is just an amazing writer, period. But he is just so intrinsically talented at making characters that you fall in love with and you just want to see them succeed. And in this book specifically, right, you know that succeeding isn't necessarily the best thing for them to be doing, because if you succeed, you're gonna have to kill someone. But you can't help but root for them, and there's some typical YA twists in there that you'll see coming, but it's still a really great book, and I can't wait to read the second. I also read Astrid Parker Doesn't Fail, which is the second book in Ashley Herring Blake's Bright Falls series, and oh my god. So Astrid Parker is basically like an uptight biatch, right? That's sort of how she's portrayed in the first book, and she just comes off as very cold. And she's working as an interior designer, and she's not the best at it, I would say, because all she designs is things that are very modern and sleek, and that works fine for some people, but not exactly when you're trying to restore a historic bed and breakfast, right? That just doesn't work. You don't want modern and sleek. You want cozy and sort of eerie in a way, right? Like a little enchanted forest. And so the carpenter on the job, her name is Jordan, and she is the granddaughter of the people who own the hotel. That's her take. She's like, no, your designs suck. You suck. And let's kind of, let's get this over with and just do what I want. And of course, they fall in love and have some very detailed sexual exploits, I would say. And, it's a good book. I listened to it on audio, and there were some times where I was just like, please make sure that no one else is listening to what I'm listening to, because, it would be really embarrassing if my headphones died right now. In November, I also did a no-buy when it came to books. So the only books that I did buy, I pre-ordered before the month began, or it was book of the month where I'd actually been charged for it the last month, right? So it was essentially a pre-order. But I thought that it would be good for December to have a spread, right, where I could keep track of the books that I purchase as well as the books that I acquire, because I'm on some influencer lists for audio specifically. And so I end up acquiring a fair amount of books, and I need to make sure that, I'm actually reading them. And I have a page in my Notion, sure, but sometimes it's, it's nice to know if, in December, that's the month when I buy all of my books, for example, maybe. Who knows? And, with NetGalley too, when are all of the, books that I want to read hitting NetGalley, for example, which is a place to get digital ARCs. And I don't know, maybe it's just me. I just like to log things. I just like to know. And I think it'll also help me in terms of managing my shelf space. So, because we bought a new bookshelf for downstairs so that I could move all of my graphic novels down there. But I'm running out of space, which means I need to stop buying books, which is a problem. So, I gotta figure that out. If you have any book storage solutions, just go ahead and let me know. But I'm also setting up my December TBR now, which is very exciting. I'm putting on here Lovelight Farms, right? So this is a book club book for the Knox Book Club, as well as for the Joyful Chaos Book Club, which I run with my friend Shelby on Instagram. And in January, we're actually going to be having a Zoom with Bex Borison, the author of Love Light Farms, Mixed Signals, and In the Weeds. And Love Light Farms is a Christmas tree farm romance that really kicked off her series. And I think that maybe In the Weeds and Mixed Signals are becoming a lot more popular potentially than the first one. But this is the first one. This is what got the series started. This is what sort of, got her followers, And I'm very excited. I've been saving it for December because sometimes I want to read a holiday book in December rather than September, That's all. Also on this list is The World We Make by N.K. Jemisin. This is the sequel to her first book in the series, which was The City We Became, which is essentially about the boroughs of New York having avatars, and they need to battle evil. That's probably not the best way to put it, but that is how it works. And so we're in the sequel. There's some things that happen at the end of the first book that we're gonna have to deal with. And I'm excited. I'm excited to read it. I wanted to read it in November when it came out, but there were just so many fantasy books that I needed to get done that I skipped this one, and I'm hoping that I still can get to it. Another fantasy book, so many of these I feel like this month are fantasy books, is The Everstorms by Amanda Foody. I won this arc in a giveaway, and I love Amanda Foody. She's just the coolest, and I think I want to be her. I'm not sure. But this is the third book in her, I think it's Wilderlore, even though I want to call it Wilderlore series, which think like nature and magic, and it's a middle grade, but it's adorable. And so the first one was in the forest, the second one was in the ocean, and this third one is in the desert. It's called The Everstorms. I'm assuming that there's some kind of perpetual storm going on, and we get to follow Barclay through it. There's going to be 7 books in this series, so think like Harry Potter in the sense of like you get to follow this protagonist for so long growing up, right? Except it's definitely less Harry Potter and more Percy Jackson feeling in terms of like humor and just sort of the general acceptance of, people being different and showing that. In terms of the rest of the books on the TBR, we have Only a Monster and 6 Crimson Cranes, which are 2 YA fantasies. We also have Black Cake, which is a historical fiction, so different for me, I know. And then Cherish Farah, which is going to be kind of like a mystery suspense, I think. And I do have Well Traveled on here, but I actually finished it, which is a romance. So we'll see how many of my TBR I can get through this month. It is a traveling month, and when I travel, I definitely tend to read more. But, stuff happens, right? December, it gets busy. So let me know what you're looking forward to reading in the coming months, because honestly, sometimes I use them as recommendations for myself. Maybe one of them will pop up in my TBR. Who knows? And so if you like this video, go ahead and make sure you hit that like button. If you want to see more of my videos, hit that subscribe button. We're getting close to 1,000, kind of. And let me know, as always, what you're reading, anything you want to see me read, and anything you want to see me try out in my reading journal. And as always, happy planning.